Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Grange Back to the Future #2 video. If you remember, a few weeks ago, I was preparing an assembly for school. It was a Sunday, and I was listening to Classic FM as I was doing the assembly. And in between, I just took a bit of a break, and the presenter on Classic FM said, if you'd like to send in a message. And I just typed in a message to the Classic FM presenter, and I just said that I'm a head teacher at Grange Primary School. It's a very happy school. We work really hard, and that I'm doing the assembly. And I love classical music. I said a little bit about some of my favorite pieces of music, the Beethoven Violin Concerto, Beethoven's Symphony #7. I was just and I wrote that down, and then I carried on doing the assemblies for quite a long time, actually. A few hours I was working on it, but I didn't hear on Classic FM him read out my announcement. But the next day on Monday, one of our governors wrote to me and said, oh, it was so nice to hear Grange on the national radio. And I realized that the presenter must have read out my message later when I wasn't listening. So that was quite nice. But then I received a letter a few days later, and that was the amazing letter which we spoke about in a previous video, in the Back to the Future Grange 1 video. And it was a message from a person, a lady who had been to Grange. She said in 1948, 1949, she couldn't remember exactly, and she'd been at Grange, and she had such happy memories, and she was so happy to hear about Grange on the radio. And she said she'd looked on our website and she'd seen the photos of such happy children and all the learning that's going on at Grange. And she said it was just so wonderful, brought back such amazing memories for her. And I did a quick calculation, 2021 to 1950, that's a long time. And it felt like an amazing time machine moment. This little girl playing at Grange Primary School, in our school, in 1950. She said 1948, 1949, could have possibly been 1950. Wasn't later than 1950. And somehow that little girl playing at Grange managed to get her voice through the decades. Remember, a decade is 10 years, through the decades to us in Grange in 2021. I asked you children in the Back to the Future Grange 1 video to write down your questions that you had for her. And lo and behold, 2 days ago, a letter arrived. Sorry, I scribbled on the envelope. A letter arrived. And I realized here it is. So let me take out the letter. And here we go. Dear Mr. Kerbal, I was delighted to receive your letter, and especially with the questions from the children. It is good that they are interested in hearing about events that happened long before they were born. I had not expected to receive such a full response to my letter, and I thank you for the work involved in collating the questions. I've got to give a special shout out to the classes that prepared beautifully questions. I think Bob Marley class, Gandhi class, I can remember you giving me real presentations to send off. Having been a primary school teacher for 34 years, I know how much is involved in running a school and appreciate the time you and your staff have given. Let me just pause here. I did not know that Miss Axford, who wrote to us, that little girl who'd been in Grange in 1948, 1949, and 1950, she went on to become a primary school teacher for 34 years. That's amazing. So all of you sitting here, children of Grange, here in 2021, who knows what you'll go on to do? One of our children from the past became a primary school teacher. That's brilliant. We know we've got actually one of our teachers in school right now was a pupil in Grange. So that's wonderful. So she carries on with her letter. I wish I had more information about the early days at Grange School, but I was a pupil there for less than a year. My father started a new job and we moved to Buckinghamshire. So we know what that's like. A lot of our children at Grange have had to move to other schools, or they've come from other schools. So this little girl who was at Grange, she was at Grange for less than a year, and then she had to move because her father got a new job. She said, I do have a tablet, but unfortunately do not understand about having video meetings. So I have to think about whether we can set it up, if we could help her with it. I was surprised by the question as to whether the school was originally planned as a hospital. As far as I know, it was planned as a school, but I could be wrong. Certainly the corridors are wide. Isn't that amazing? She remembers our corridors. But I don't remember any ramps, just flights of stairs. So maybe the ramps came later. I've written a separate letter for the children and tried to answer as many of their questions as possible. I've enjoyed making contact with the school I attended so long ago. Best wishes to you all. Yours sincerely, Miss Axford. And Miss Axford, here's her letter to the children. Dear children of Grange School, I was very pleased to receive your interesting questions, and I will try to answer as many as possible. I was 6 when I started at Grange in 1948 or 1949. I do not remember any of the teachers' names, but I liked them and they were very kind. I was excited on the first day because it was a new school. When I said the building wasn't finished, I meant last-minute things like painting and fixing signs. The walls and roofs were all there. I lived in Tinton Way, which I think is close to the school, so I walked with friends. My favorite subjects were music, reading, painting, and drama. Only the government and big companies had computers then, so we did not have laptops or tablets. The only thing we had was a wind-up gramophone so the teacher could play records to us. As far as I remember, we did not have a school uniform. I'm sending a small photo of me when I was at Grange. I'm wearing a red dress, which I probably wore to school. I would not have worn wellies or pinafore to school, but I was playing with water in the garden at home. The food was not very interesting because we still had rationing after the war. While I was at Grange School, sweets came off rationing for a few days, but everybody bought up all the sweets, so they had to put them back on ration again. Rationing didn't end until I was 11. I'm sorry I was not able to answer all your questions, but I hope you found some of my memories interesting. I hope you enjoy your time at Grange School as much as I did. Best wishes to you all, Miss Axford. Now, children, speak to your adults, speak to your teachers. What is a gramophone? A wind-up gramophone. Unbelievable. Speak to your teachers. 1950, see what she says? What Miss Axford says? Only the government and big companies had computers, and the computers were enormous. They were the size of whole rooms. Our mobile phones, smartphones, are more powerful than the computers they had in those days. Look at what science and technology has done in these 7 decades since Miss Axford is writing to us. Also interesting, she's talking about rationing after the war. That's World War II. What does rationing mean? Sweets were rationed. Amazing. Speak to your adults so that you can learn more about that. And here's the picture of Miss Axford. Can you see it? There she is, little girl playing at home, 1950. I just feel this is our Back to the Future #2 Grange video. I just feel this little girl that you're looking at right here somehow amazingly has managed to speak to us. Just look at this photo. What is she saying? She's saying, children of Grange, I'm a pupil of Grange. I'm enjoying my time. Enjoy your time, children of Grange. It's a wonderful school, our school. And look at this little girl from 1950, 7 decades ago, 70 years plus, has managed to speak to you from then, back in those days, to you right now. I kind of feel, I know I'm biased, but I kind of feel that our school is magical and wonderful. Let's be great. Let's be Grange.